Are you looking for a real estate investing strategy effective for the next 6 to 12 months? If there's an investing formula superior to wholesaling or rehabbing and better than landlording, well, there is. One of our sponsors has been an investor for over 20 years. He's been through it all, up and down markets. This is not new to him. But listen to this. He's offering an investing how-to kit for free to our listeners for a limited time. So go to unlimitedfundingkit.com and get your free kit to start investing without a credit check or large down payment. This information is not common knowledge. It reveals how to have virtually unlimited funding for your deals based on a technique very, very few investors know about. Guys, this is not common knowledge. So be one of the few and get the unlimited funding kit by going to their website at unlimitedfundingkit.com. Again, the kit is free, just a few bucks for shipping. So head over and get your kit, unlimitedfundingkit.com.
Welcome to Underground Wealth Secrets, hosted by Julie Houston on behalf of Bob and Ed Diamond. This is your friendly guide on leveling up your business, achieving financial freedom, and changing people's lives. This is for serious players who want to surpass their current stage and move the needle further. Tune in to get practical advice and eye-opening stories of industry leaders across the nation, teaching you how to scale your business with a strong financial mindset and true to your core values. Let's get this discussion started with your one and only host, Julie Houston.
Everybody, it's Julie Houston with undergroundwealthsecrets.net podcast on behalf of Bob and Ed Diamond. I'm very, very excited. We have a fellow veteran in the house, Navy. So I'm excited about that, as I am a Navy veteran as well. We have Vance Courtney with us. Vance, welcome to Underground Wealth Secrets.
Thank you so much, Julie, for having me here. I appreciate it.
Such a pleasure to have you. So why don't we start off with, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So I'm a real estate investor, wholesaler based out of Augusta, Georgia. We've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. I have a consulting company that kind of helps people scaling their business. I have a wholesaling business, does about 100 deals plus a year, 7 figures, and I work like less than 10 hours a week in the business. So it's awesome. I love helping other people do that exact same thing. And then, of course, in my prior life, prior to that, I was a software systems engineer that was really focused on building systems, putting teams behind it, and helping them deploy that out to the organization.
Wow, that's nice. Nice background.
Yeah.
So you started 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, exactly. So we actually started like our 2018 kind of classic, picked up a bad investment. It was like, okay, this is not how I want to do this. I don't want to keep losing money. So then it was like, how do I find out how to get these good deals? And then when I realized that once I got a good deal, I'm like, this is a very repeatable process. It's almost built like a system to me. And if I have to do something 3 or more times, I'm going to find a way to automate that and then put in a system behind it. And so when I realized it was a big system, I didn't focus on finding the deals for myself, found the deals for the other investors, and then it just grew from there. And then we put a team into play, put in the systems and process to back it up. And now I get to, have the opportunity of cherry picking the deals as they come through, and I got a great machine and great team that works with us.
That's everyone's dream, cherry picking the deals, right?
Yes, getting ahead of it.
So how did you even get into real estate then? Coming from your background, how did you fall into this 5 years ago?
No, so I've always had a slight interest in real estate where when I actually joined the military and I went through the boot camp, one of the chiefs there, made a comment saying, hey, look, you're going to get a retirement from the military, but if you want 2 retirements, just live in your home and keep it every few years when you have to move, and you'll get this portfolio. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm 19 years old. This is great. So I've been doing that since about 2008. As soon as I moved in, picked it up a home, and every few years been keeping it. And then around 2018 or so, I was like, this is going to take way too long. I want to do this faster. And so that's what kind of led into okay, I got my retirement, that's plan A, but let me do plan B. And then of course, as you get into understanding a little bit about real estate, you realize that plan A isn't as great as plan B. Let's switch those around now. And so we went full in on the real estate side.
So would it be safe to say this person really influenced your real estate
Yeah,
mindset a little bit, like opened your vision to like a bigger picture?
it really did. And it wasn't necessarily the slowest way, but it was still one of the best ways because it allowed me to build the assets slowly that actually have given me the leverage a little bit today. And so 100%, this is the first time meeting this chief, absolutely had an impact for at least always holding it and creating that second retirement. But I think the big classic that I got to give a big attribution to as a why I wanted to accelerate that thought process was reading the book, the classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Understanding the difference between an asset and liability. And I'm just sitting here like, I need more assets. And that's what led down to trying to find my own deal. And I live in a good market, Augusta, Georgia, great for rentals. But I was like, oh, don't invest in your backyard. Let me go into a great market. And I went into Detroit, not knowing anything, buying a home turnkey.
Tell me more.
Yeah, long story short, picked it up. It was cash flowing day one. It was cash flowing, it's like $900 a month. We paid 70 grand for it. Decent numbers, right? A week later, after we picked it up, the tenant was in place, moved. The place got flooded, copper got robbed, had to get it boarded up. And then I didn't live there, so I'd never even seen it. Foundation had an issue, and I'm like, oh, great. So I had to sell it at a discount to a fellow investor at $40,000 after putting some money into it. So it was a $40,000 loss. I'm like, how do I not do that ever again?
Oh,
right? Yeah, some people would knock them out for sure out of the game, but it was more like, okay, how do we avoid this? Because turnkey was not so turnkey.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the gist of that one was my first loss. And then it was go get them deep enough and in my own backyard, right? And so
now are you staying in your own backyard?
That's exactly it. Matter of fact, we haven't even finished tapping our own market. We're still adding new marketing methods and channels. And that kind of like ties into like one of the big like secrets for scaling is hyper focus on one market and one channel until you dominate it, then you add another. And don't even look at another market until you've dominated your current one, right? We're too busy trying to look around. And yeah, I was too busy looking at where the best place was, not realizing I had a great place right where I'm at.
Right where you're at.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit more about how it kind of works.
Yeah. So from the real estate side, for us as a wholesaling company, we have three major, like I call dials that we're focused on. Okay. The first one, you got to crank it up. It's called marketing, right? This marketing could be cold calling. This marketing could be like direct mail, and anything in between, right? And as long as you turn the marketing on and you're doing a channel, pick one and dominate it, then you got to go get your sales skills turned up. And so that's the next knob, is like the ability to talk to sellers, right? And to get the deal closed. Because as the saying goes in real estate, your money is made on the buy, not the sell, right? And so it's about that purchase. And then the final third dial that we focus on is the operation, also known as disposition, as they say in our industry, right? But it's the operation, it's the fulfillment, it's getting what you said you're going to get done to the finish line. And a lot of times I'll see people focus a lot on marketing or a lot on the operation, never hitting the sales and never picking up that phone and talking to the seller or going on the appointments. And man, that phone can be 500 pounds sometimes. They don't want to pick that thing up. So yeah, we help focusing on each major operation.
So you got to dial in each of those three concepts.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because the biggest thing is just get your marketing turned on, and we can kind of talk about like the different strategies, like how the sales works, right? And the most important when you're doing this, you're going to be doing it all starting off, right? And again, focusing on the one channel. I don't care if it's the two popular ones that I personally like is direct mail and cold calling. Okay, and I use a very simple question: is do you have more time or do you have more money? Right? If you have more time, then pick up the phone and do that cold calling, because that's a very muscle memory type activity. It takes a lot of time to get out there. If you have more money than time, then invest it in the direct mail and have the calls come to you. You'll be surprised how many people will pay for direct mail and the calls come in, but they don't pick up. And it's like, don't wait, do a live answer. People wait for it to go to voicemail and they say, I'll get it when I get off of work, or I'll get to it later today. And in the meantime, that person is pulling multiple postcards, and the first person that answers on one that's going to get the chance to close that deal. And so that's the big focus that we work on, is making sure your marketing is tuned in, you're actually generating leads, getting quality leads, and then we go into the sales process. And
wow.
Yeah, so it gets super dialed in, but like people will hear things and be like, oh, I want to go drive for dollars, which means you drive around neighborhoods looking for the ugly homes. Or they're like, I just want to go put out bandit signs, you know, those
Hey, that's how I
houses.
started driving for dollars.
Pick it
I
up.
sure did.
But as long as you're doing the one thing, like heck, driving for dollars is a great way to get started, but just focus on it. Don't drive for dollars for like a half an hour here and then go put a bandit sign and then send a couple letters that you hand wrote. You know, when you do a little bit of everything, you're not going to get anywhere. Put all the same energy, money, and time into the one thing and do it really well. So drive, call it, and you will get deals. And as soon as you get that first deal, then you invest the money back into the marketing. So that way your business immediately from like after your first revenue activity starts funding itself and you don't have to keep putting money into a business, right? Your business should be an ATM machine. I put $1 in, I should get $3 out. Like it should operate really nice. It shouldn't be, I put $5 in and I get $1 out later. Like that's a bad business. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Right.
Let's not go
Exactly.
there.
Right. Exactly.
All right, so I got to ask, like, what are some of maybe your biggest learning curves when you started out compared to where you are now that you would definitely share with someone
Absolutely.
today?
Yes.
Like just starting out that you didn't know and had to learn otherwise.
Yeah, I'll kind of tie it. I'll actually hit on each major kind of section here. So hitting with marketing, it comes back to go big and go consistent. When I talk to people about marketing, don't dabble, be committed when you're doing this. And I say, go broke with marketing, like go spend everything you have. I don't care what it is, sell your TV so you can put your time on it. I don't care, get the leads to come in because that's the money making activity right there. Then your next part is to get the deal. Let's talk to the sellers, don't delay. And then if you don't have sales experience, spend a little bit of money and go get that sales training. Right, there's some big industry names that are out there that you can leverage from like John Martinez, Steve Trang, Sandler method. I don't care which sales method, pick one, master it and apply it. Put the money back into yourself to get the close. And then you'll focus on the ability to disposition or sell it. Meaning if you want to hold it, if you want to flip it, you want to be a real estate investor, or you just want to wholesale it, right? Then you'll spend your time there. And what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to master the craft. When it's like get out there and fail forward, just know that failure is part of the path to success. Like again, don't let the first no stop you. No, and in my mind, this is how we look at it. I had to get through 100 no's to get to one yes, right? It's all through repetition, and just that's the number thing. It's like consistently every single day putting that work in. And then I already give one tip when it comes to sales. Here's a little secret sauce to sales. Ready?
Yes.
70% of our deals comes from follow-up, right? Now, most like salespeople know this, but on your average touch is what they say, takes 12 touches to be able to close to the sale. You know, the average salesperson will do 3 touches before they quit.
Really? Is it 3?
They'll call twice, they don't pick up a couple times and they're just done and they move on to the next lead. But to get the sale, that's what you want to shoot for, and you want to be above that. So the name of the game is, and we always say that the money's in the database, and that's because 70% of your deals will come from follow-up. If you're waiting for them to pick up and they're calling motivated and you want it to be like a laydown is what we call it, you're looking at like 10 to 20% flops, right? But everything else is like through follow-up. So that's the name of the game, and the one who follows up the most will win. And here's what I can promise you, Julie. Not one person have we ever called that said we were following up too much. Nobody complains about being followed up too much. What I can tell you though is we've lost deals from not following up enough. So that's just kind of how I
sure, huh?
Yes, absolutely. So I already give that secret sauce. It's like be persistent or be consistent every day and persistent, and follow up with what the lead you spent the money on it. Don't just be like, oh, they're not ready today. It's a no right now. Keep following up.
I love that. I think that's the key in any business too. I think it really applies to any business. I mean, you have to have consistency and continual follow-up in order to even move forward.
Yeah, 100%. And here's a cool thing. If you put the money into the training on sales, here's the secret thing about sales, is it's not even really about sales. It's truly talking about like persuasion. And it's not in the manipulative way. And I use this example so people can understand is I'm not going to be able to convert a Christian to an atheist or an atheist to a Christian, right? You cannot persuade somebody. Just like I can't persuade somebody like you to sell your house for a massive discount, because if they don't need it, like you're going to use the realtor 99% of the time. All I'm doing is using persuasion to get them to a yes or a no. They already know the answer. I'm just trying to persuade them to give me that answer, because I need to go through 99 no's to get to a yes. The worst answer, and one I'll never accept, is a maybe. Let me think about it. All of those are the ones that I avoid. Okay. And a lot of times they're just scared because you didn't give them permission to say no. People don't want to hurt your feelings. So if you want to apply a quick sales technique, and look, this applies to anything. If you're talking for clients, if you're talking for selling, and just heck, if you're at a car dealership, the let me think about it is simply because you never gave them permission to tell you no. So even afterwards, I'm like, hey, I get that. You want to do a pull away technique. And at this point, this is where you'll simply say, hey, look, there's a little bit more techniques you can use, but like tactical empathy. I'm sorry. I feel like a real here. I get super excited with real estate sometimes. I just get the feeling that right now may not be the best of time. And if it's not, it's no problem. Just tell me no, and I promise you won't hurt my feelings. And then I'll at least get a no or a yes. And to think about it, sometimes like, no, it's not that. I need to think about this, or they'll elaborate. And now you're getting to the real problem, or they'll tell you no, and it was just a nice way of saying no. But the worst is a maybe. And then you go to follow up with them, right? And they keep ghosting you, and they're not following up because they don't want to tell you no. Maybes are the worst. Get a no so you can at least put them out of the system and move forward, or at least follow up with them months later, not tomorrow and the next day, and keep hitting them and you're texting and all of that. So
stay away from the maybes.
Stay away from the maybes. You'll 100% agree with you on that.
Oh my goodness. Well, I like that you also say like invest in yourself, like in the sales course, like that's a big key too. Like getting out of your comfort zone and investing in yourself is really, one of the components to being more successful, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, this is like the order of investments that I would always do if you had money. If you have money, believe it or not, don't put it into real estate first. I know that's going to sound contradictory, right? I mean, pick up a home if you're going to go buy a personal home, that's separate, right? And keep moving, that's different. But literally, if you're going to go buy an investment, why would I put any of my own money into a deal, right? And looking for a 10 or 15 or 20% return when I can first put it into a business that'll give you a 3 to 5x return. That's 300 to 500%, not 20%. Or even better, if you believe in, especially if you believe in yourself, you get like a almost infinite, but 100x return when I put it here. You can spend $500, $1,000, or even $5,000 on a sales program, and now you got a skill that can never be taken away. No matter what market you're in, no matter what industry you're in, you'll never lose that skill. It's a forever skill. So it's got an infinite return when you invest in yourself. So step one, I always believe in investing in yourself. Step two, invest in your business, and again, what you're producing, your effort, before you invest into an asset. This goes against the norms, Julie, but I'm against the norms kind of personality.
All right.
90% of wealth, people think that there's like, 90% of millionaires are made with real estate. But here's what I believe about the wealth. I believe wealth is built through businesses, but it's preserved through real estate. Because I don't ever hear about how they're like, but I flip all these homes. Well, flipping a home is not holding it. So flipping a home produced income, and that was a business. And then you took the money and you put it into a rental, right? If you go and just buy a rental with no equity and you're trying to play cash flow for $100 a month, do you know how many rentals you need to have in order to finally cash flow your lifestyle? What you did is you paid down your debt, or you bought a good deal through some form of effort, right? Through a business of some form that brought the revenue. So I believe that like when it comes to wholesaling and flipping, those are businesses. The product is real estate, but it's transactional.
Yes, but I believe that even in general, like having passive income, regardless of where you're building it up, is also one of those things. Like not all investors solely do real estate, and that's why they're where they're at. There's maybe other contributing factors, and I've learned that from some of the wealthiest people that I've ever met. They're not just they in one thing. They have passive income, and they don't put all their eggs in one basket.
No, I agree with that. Matter of fact, my own breakout is roughly very similar to that, where it's like 50% for me is heavy into the real estate, but I still have some money into the stocks, right? And I still have some money invested into like some gold and even like the cryptocurrency, a very small portion, but it's having diversification in your own investments. but that's all tomorrow money, not needed for like today. So as it builds until you
Yeah.
get to where your passive exceeds your expenses, right? And you need
Yes.
to reinvest it. But yes, I'm 100% with you on that. There's not one that fits all. You use your expertise. If you're really great with stocks and business, I mean, a business is an asset too. People don't realize that it has a value. It can grow the network. You can borrow against a business if it's producing, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like all asset classes are valuable.
All right. So I got to ask, like, who is probably the most influential person in your life, or who has influenced or impacted your life the most, do you think? Just in general.
I have to give it to him. This was an older coach of mine. His name is Tom Kroll. He impacted me because he's the one that actually helped me with the very first, like doing wholesaling at the beginning. But more importantly, he gave me some great books. And then one of them was called The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. When he made the comment that every wealthy person's ever read it, right? I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to read that. And oh my goodness, was it really eye-opening. So
Was it?
yes, Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gang is fantastic. It's great. So anyway, it was a great life-changing. Just talked about the four principles and then how I apply it. And yeah,
I haven't read that.
Yeah, it's a very different book. It's good though. It's fantastic. And yeah, I recommend it for anybody.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. It'll be good.
I love it. So what's going on? So I got to ask this.
Yeah.
How's your business today now in the current market? Like in the economy, are you seeing a change, a difference? Are you still as good as ever? Like, how is that? Is
It's
there any
changing.
impacting?
Oh, absolutely. There's a change, but that's our job, especially as a business owner, because every industry has shifts and changes, right? The question is, how do you survive through it? So luckily we started before COVID. So then when COVID hit, we had to adapt and change then, right? After COVID, we went, we're still going through. And during the changing market, here's the secret about real estate. Again, it comes back to the buy. And it just means that you have to get it deeper and you have to bring awareness and education to the seller. So it is having an impact, but I also have got to find other ways to monetize on the opportunity. So, but as far as for revenue and our deal flow, it's the same as last year. So I think it just comes down to what are you doing? If the same tricks don't necessarily still work today, and to stay abreast. I'm a big fan of masterminds and groups because that's where high-level other entrepreneurs, high-level investors can share and collaborate. So anytime you get to be a part of a mastermind or a group of people that are on the same trajectory and path that you're on, it's super, super important because then you can see what's going on, and then everybody comes up with different techniques and we're applying them before they become popular in the industry.
Yes, I agree. That is beneficial for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. So just as far as like on like regards to like scaling a business, let's say you're out there already doing a few deals. And if you find that this actually applies to any business when you're a service-based industry, when it comes to scaling, if you're doing it all yourself, I can't recommend this enough. If you haven't had a chance, go get yourself a virtual assistant. Get a virtual assistant if you don't have one. And here's the reason, like, I don't even care if you have a high income job. If you're working 6 figures and you don't have an assistant, you are doing stuff at $5 an hour because you could be paying somebody else to do it. So I always make the joke of like, you do realize without an assistant, you're working sometimes at the McDonald's wage. They might even be making more than you. What are you talking about? And so we start talking about some of the things like how many forms are you preparing or phone calls and scheduling of appointments are you doing, right? If you're doing that and somebody else can do it at 5 and you're not paying somebody, that means you're doing it and you value yourself there. And so when we start talking about the dollar per hour and doing breakouts and time studies with them, it opens up their eyes and like, okay, I need to stop doing this. I need to be doing the $500 an hour activity, not the 5, right?
Yeah, that's it. That could change somebody's business overnight for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think are like the keys to success to the kingdom for you? Like when did you, I know you created the system and the processes. So when did that impact your business? Like when did you incorporate it and then start like sharing it?
Yeah. So as far as so like when I started sharing the process, the system's been a couple of years now. I've been doing it, sharing it out, helping others, kind of implementing these different tools, different processes. Most important that I really help out is like the biggest impact that you can have is helping somebody go from solopreneur, where they feel like they got a business because they got a cool logo and a business card, but they don't have any people. What they've created is a high income job, right? And that's fantastic if that's what you want. But if you got in this to have leverage and have a business, it's very, very challenging. I'm not saying it's impossible, because if you're in a sales role and there's certain exemptions, very hard to go to 7 figures by yourself. You have to be extremely good at like whatever that activity is. It's a rarity, not common. The fastest way to grow to get to 7 figures is through leverage of people. And so that's what I will focus on, is like bringing on people to your team to help you grow. And if you get a chance, I'm going to help you out. If you got 2 exercises I'd like for you to do. Here's the first one. It's real simple. Over the next few days, I want you to write down, it's called the love it, hate it exercise. I want you to write down everything that you love, and I want you to write down everything that you hate that you're doing. And if you don't have a love or hate, I put it in my meh column. Who cares? It's work. But I love it and I hate it. And then once you've identified that, you've already identified what you're looking for as far as hate. The next thing I'd like for you to do is, for the next 3 days, you're going to hate this, but do this. If you take this step, you'll get phenomenal results. For the next 3 days, starting tomorrow morning, if you're listening, for 15 minutes, every 15 minutes, set a watch, set a clock, a timer, I don't care, and you're going to write down what you're doing, okay? At the end of 3 days, here's what's going to happen. At the end of 3 days, because you're not going to write down that you Netflixed and chilled, right? You don't want to be, I was on Facebook for 30 minutes or an hour, right? You're not going to want to write all these things down. You're going to be, in those 3 days, more productive than you've ever been before. So step one, you're going to get an instant productivity boost and hack. The next thing you're going to realize is everything that you're doing. And then you're going to sit there and I want you to assess and be like, who could do this? Am I the only one that can do this, right? Coordinating, scheduling. And this is where you're going to find out what you're doing and how much of what you love versus hate. And if it's on the list and it's a low valued activity, meaning you assess it and you put it to the hate it, that is your new job description to go hire out. That's your hack on who do I hire next. You hate it and you realize it's a low paying activity, you outsource it. But you'll be surprised at how many people think they're super productive, but they're really just busy. When they look at all the things they're doing, they spent 2 hours doing this, a half an hour doing that, just managing email. Like, got to get somebody else to help you out. So first hire for any high income earner or any solopreneur is an assistant.
That's really good feedback.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get, just take that step, just try it, just do it though. That's what I want to hope. So your audience will just take that action and just jot it down and do it.
Yeah. Well, I know for our viewers, Vance is going to share some of the information that we reviewed today, and that'll be available at undergroundwealthsecrets.net/scaling. Again, undergroundwealthsecrets.net/scaling. So Vance, do you have any closing words you'd like to tell our audience before we close?
Yes. So one, there's a couple, like be on the other side of comfort. If you're comfortable right now and you don't like where you're at, get uncomfortable, okay? This is where it's like, get that higher, go get that next thing, right? You know what you need to do, but you're scared of it. Whatever you're scared of doing, go do it. Like, if I can give any advice, you want massive growth, be on the other side of comfort, because that's where success comes. Go do it scared, right? Just get out there and just take massive imperfect action. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Massive imperfect action.
I like that. I really like that. Well, thank you so much, Vance. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show today.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything else I can do, just let me know. Thanks again for having me.
No, thanks for being with us. It was our pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Underground Wealth Secrets. May these nuggets of wisdom lead you to finally discovering your true potential. Become one of the most reliable businesses out there that's dedicated both to filling up your bank accounts and leaving a positive impact on your community. Get more informative and engaging conversations like this one at undergroundwealthsecrets.net. Don't forget to leave a positive rating and share with your friends. That's all for now. Until next time.